Hello students, today we will do AC voltage applied to an inductor. In the previous topic we did AC circuit applied to a resistor. Now again we assume the same thing, that our AC source is a function of sine instead of resistor. Now we have an inductor having inductance L connected to an AC source. V is equal to Vm sine of omega t. We assume that the resistance of an inductor is 0. So let I of t be the current flowing in the circuit at any instant. If we at any instant we assume this direction of current, then this is plus polarity and this is minus. This is plus of inductor and this is minus. That is, current is increasing. Now we know the behavior of a inductance, the behavior of an inductor. It opposes the growth and the decay of the current. So when the current is increasing, it opposes the change. That is our Lenz's law. So first we simply write the introductory portion of the topic, that consider an inductor of inductance capital L connected to AC source V is equal to Vm sine omega t. So again this is our instantaneous voltage. We assume resistance of inductor is 0. Applying Kirchhoff's second law to the loop, let us name this loop as A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D, A. We know what is the Kirchhoff's second law, that is the algebraic sum of the potential difference in the circuit is 0. So suppose we start from A to B, then B to C. You are moving in the direction of the current. The current is increasing. Suppose at any instant, then it opposes the growth of a current. So we put a minus sign. So minus L di by dt. Here negative sign is here. Negative sign is due to Lenz's law, That is, we are assuming that at any instant the current start flowing in the direction from B to C and it is increasing, so it should oppose the growth of the current, which is a negative sign. Or you can say, if you are moving in the direction of the current, the potential difference is here taken as the negative. Then coming from C to D to A, again we come across, say, a negative terminal. So it can be written as minus V. So minus minus is cancelled. So we have L di by dt. We use the equation number 1, that is Vm sine of omega t. Therefore, di upon dt can be written as Vm upon capital L sine of omega t. Now we have to find out the current flowing in the circuit at any instant. We know this is the voltage is a function of sine. So now you have to find out what is the formula for the current in the circuit at any instant. Because your source is an harmonic function, it symmetrically oscillates about a origin or about a point 0, that is the range is -1 and +1 of a sine. So you can say it oscillates around or about 0. So the current will also change accordingly with respect to the source. Now we integrate this equation with respect to time. So integrating our equation with respect to time, so we write integration di by dt into dt integration Vm upon L sine of omega t dt. That is, we are integrating both sides with respect to time. Again, we are going for an indefinite integral. That is, we don't consider the limits. We can also consider the limit of this equation. You can take dt to that side and then integrating di, and here we integrate sine omega t dt, putting the limit 0 to I and 0 to t time. So you can also find out using the definite integral. Here we are using the concept of indefinite integral, that is without a limit. So the integration of di upon dt into dt, so you can say dt is cancelled like this, and integration of di is I, equal to Vm upon L, that is constant. So Vm upon L. Integration of sine omega t dt, integration of sine omega t is minus cos omega t. Then we do the derivative of omega t, that is omega, and we divide this term by omega, plus we write a constant of integration or integration constant. So here we write a term, the integration constant, because it is an indefinite integral. Now this constant should be time independent. Why it should be time independent? The first thing is because the constant is added to this term. The equation or the quantity on the left hand side is current. So the dimension on right hand side should also be that of current. So the constant has a dimension of current. Now our source varies harmonically, that is a function of sine, or it oscillates symmetrically about the zero, because its range is -1 to 1. So origin is a midpoint, or it is its mean position. So it's oscillate about zero. So if the source oscillate about the origin or about zero, then the current should also oscillate symmetrically about the origin. It means there is no such constant, or the constant should be zero, so that whatever is the behavior of a source, that is the behavior of a current. So here constant term, or we call it a integration constant, is zero or time independent. It is time independent because the source oscillates symmetrically. The source oscillates symmetrically about zero. So current should also, so the current also oscillate symmetrically about zero, and hence integration constant is assumed to be zero. So there should not be any term which depends on time, because we already have a source which is time dependent. So the current should also be time independent, and there should not be any constant term. We should have only the term which is time dependent. So the equation is minus Vm omega L cos of omega t. So this is the equation of the current. The instantaneous voltage is a function of sine, and the instantaneous current is a function of cos. Now let us see this term. In the previous question, when we connected this AC source with resistor, we have Vm upon R. Here we have Vm upon omega L. So we introduce a new term here. Omega L is equal to XL, and it is termed as inductive reactance. It is termed as inductive reactance, and the role played by it is same as the role played by a resistor, that is the resistance offered by the inductor to the flow of AC current, because we know the inductor opposes the growth and the decay of the current. So we call it a resistance offered by an inductor to the flow of AC current. So its definition is, what is inductive reactance? So it is the resistance offered by inductor to flow of AC current is called inductive reactance. So this definition is not a part of our solution. We have to simply find out the current in the circuit. So we introduce this term. Then we also write its SI unit, because it is a resistance, or if you do this unit of omega and L, you will find the SI unit comes out to be ohms only. So SI unit is ohm. You can write the dimensional formula. It is same as that of the resistance. So SI unit is ohm. Dimensional formula again left as an exercise. So we replace this resistance of an inductor by a new term which is called XL. So it is directly proportional to the inductance and the angular frequency. So this equation become I is equal to minus Vm upon XL cos of omega t. And now this is a constant term. So this is written as minus Im cos of omega t, where Im is similar to the Ohm's law, that is the potential difference. So we have an amplitude, that is a peak value of current. So peak value of voltage divided by resistance, that is XL. So Im is the peak value of current, or you can say the amplitude or the maximum value of the current in the circuit. So this is the equation for the current, that is say equation number 2. So one is a function of sine, other is a function of cosine. Now we want to compare, now see the compare it with the case where we have connected a resistor to an AC source. In that the voltage was a function of sine and the current was also a function of a sine. And we said that the phase difference between the instantaneous voltage and instantaneous current is 0. But here the situation is different. Here the instantaneous voltage is a function of sine and the instantaneous current is a function of a cosine. Now mathematically, now cos of omega t can be written as minus sine omega t minus pi by 2. So we can write like this. You can understand this by reversing the function. So this equation can be written as sine of pi by 2 minus omega t. That is the first quadrant. So we replace this minus cos omega t by sine of omega t minus cos. So if you evaluate this portion, you can write this equation as minus sine pi by 2 minus omega t, that is minus is taken common, sine 90 minus something, you are in first quadrant, due to 90 the function changes and the sign is positive, so it becomes minus cos of omega t, so that is LHS. So minus cos of omega t can be written like this also mathematically. Therefore I can also write the equation I is equal to, now in the place of minus cos omega t, because we have to compare this with equation 1 which is a function of sine, so it becomes In sine of omega t minus pi by 2. So for comparison purpose, we change the form of the equation to, so you remember we got this form of the equation which is changed just to compare it with equation 1. Now if you compare this equation, here we have sine omega t, here we have omega t minus pi by 2. It means the angle within this term is decreasing. That is, the current is lagging behind the voltage by a phase difference of 90 degree or pi by 2 radian. Now what does it physically mean? It physically means that when we switch on such circuit, the current will be established after, now it lags behind by 90 degree. So 90 degree matlab time period is T by 4. So the current is established in the circuit after T by 4 second, where capital T will be the time period. Or we know that work is required to be done against the field, or in the inductor work is required to be done against the self-induced EMF. That is the property of inductor. It opposes the growth and decay. So the work is required to be done by this external source. So while doing the work, the time lapse is T by 4 second. So whenever such circuit is switched on, the current will be established after T by 4 second, or in the terms of angle we say current lags behind the voltage by pi by 2 radian. So by the time the current gets established, the flicking take place, or the current is not established. For example, let us take an example of a tube light. A tube light is connected to an AC source. Now you have seen that when you switch on the tube light, it flickers for a few seconds. So in that tube light we have an inductor. That circuit is inductive. Inductor is a main component in the tube light. We are not talking about CFL or LED. We are talking about a simple tube light which is an inductive circuit. So as you switch on, the tube light will flick for a few seconds because the inductor opposes the growth of the current, and the work is done by this external source to establish the current, and that time lapse is about T by 4 second, or you can say the current is established after V, or current lags behind the voltage by pi by 2 radian. So for comparison purpose, we change the form of the equation. So comparing equation 1 with equation 3, we can say in such circuit current lags, LAGS, current lags behind the voltage, by pi by 2 radian or T by 4 second, or time, T by 4 time. So this is the phase difference. So in such circuit you have to remember the phase difference between V and I is pi by 2 radian, or you can say the phase difference is 90 degree. So this is the circuit where AC source or AC voltage is connected to an inductor. Now after finding the value of this current and comparing it with voltage, we will draw the graph of VI, as well as try to understand the same concept by the phasor diagram. So let us see the graph of VI versus omega t, as well the phasor diagram. Now these are the equation 1 and 2. The equation 3 is for comparison purpose. So you have to draw the phasor diagram as well as Vi versus omega t graph. So let us draw here Vi versus omega t graph, and on this side we draw the phasor diagram. So this is phasor diagram. In the previous topic we discussed that any quantity which is scalar but we treat them like a vector, then we call it a phasor, or phasor is a vector which rotate about a origin with angular frequency omega, and as it rotates it draw a curve, or it produce a curve of sine or cosine. So let us draw a phasor diagram here at any instant. Now clearly V is a function of sine. So the first thing is we draw the graph of V. So this is your V for this is one complete cycle. This angle is 2 pi and this angle is pi. So omega t is theta. And in the terms of time, this is t by 2 and this is t. So 90 degree comes here, that is a t by 4 second. Now V is a function of sine and I is a function of minus cosine. So as one increases, the other should decrease. So as the voltage increases, the current will decrease, because we have a negative sign here, so we are calling it a decrease. So this is minus cos graph. So this is positive. Sorry, when the sign is 0, cosine is maximum. So let us take this point. We have to label. Then when this sign becomes maximum, that is V become maximum, the current becomes minimum. Because we have a minus sign, we start a graph from negative axis. Again this sign becomes 0, so cosine becomes maximum, maximum, minimum, minimum, maximum. So this is the graph. So again we have a maximum here, so this graph becomes minimum. So you have to draw the graph accordingly, taking maximum minimum into consideration. So this is a graph of I. So one is a sine graph, the other is the cosine graph. Dotted line is the graph of sine. So maximum, minimum, maximum, minimum, maximum, maximum, minimum, like this we have to draw. So one is cosine graph, minus cosine graph, and one is sine graph. Now we have to draw the phasor diagram at any instant. So let us take this instant. This instant is named as omega t1. So we take a horizontal line here and one horizontal line from this side. So this is horizontal is taken from the sine graph, and again a horizontal line is taken from the current. Now we join this portion. This is phasor V, because this is the perpendicular line drawn from V. This is a current. So this is phasor of current, capital I. And if our diagram is perfectly drawn, these curves are drawn perfectly, then this angle comes out to be 90 degree. And the phasor rotates in an anti-clockwise direction. So at any instant, we have V lead the current by 90 degree, or you can say the current lags behind the voltage by 90 degree. So you have to say that this is perfect 90. Now what is the magnitude of this phasor? It is Vm. So this component is Vm sine of omega t. That is the vertical component give you the instantaneous voltage. And this vertical component is, because it is along the negative x-axis, we write minus Im sine of omega t, or you can say it is omega t1 if it is thrown at any instant omega t1. So this is how we draw a phasor diagram where one is sine and the other is the cosine term. At any stage, this angle should remain 90. This is our omega t1. So at any instant you can write omega t1. Sorry, here you have to write minus cos of omega t1, or either you write minus Im cos of omega t1 because the instant is omega t1, or you can write directly Im sine of omega t1 minus pi by 2. So this is the case. If this angle is omega t1, this angle will be 90 minus omega t1. So if this is 90 minus omega t1, this component becomes minus cosine component, or you can say minus Im sine of omega t1. That is the concept of a vector, how to resolve and write it. So this is Vi versus omega t graph. Now as this phasor rotates anti-clockwise, it will produce this graph where we know these values are the peak values, that is Vm, and this value is a peak value Im here, that is one is maximum and other is minimum. So this is an AC voltage applied to an inductor. So if we compare it with a resistor, we find that the current is lagging behind the voltage by phase difference of 90 degree or pi by 2 radian. And if this is a 90 degree, the time interval is t by 4. So current is established after t by 4 second. Now let us see the power in an inductor circuit, or the power when an AC source is connected to inductor. Now power in the circuit, or the power supplied to an inductor. So how much power is supplied by the source to an inductor? So instantaneous power P is equal to V into I, that is the instantaneous power. Therefore P is equal to Vm sine of omega t, then Im minus sine cos of omega t. So we are simply substituting the values. Therefore P is equal to minus Vm Im divided by 2 sine of omega t cos of omega t. So we multiply and divide it by 2. Therefore the instantaneous power is equal to Vm Im divided by 2. Now this is the formula of sine 2 omega t. Now we have to find out the average power. This is the instantaneous power. So for one complete cycle, we have to find out the average power. So average power for one complete cycle. So average power, or we can write capital L, is equal to minus Vm Im divided by 2. We put it in an average. So this is the average power. That is what we found in a case of a resistor. Therefore capital P is equal to minus Vm Im by 2 is constant, average of sine 2 omega t. So again we know how to find out the average for one complete cycle. So if I want to find out the average of this function, say f of t is equal to sine of 2 omega t, then the average of this for one complete cycle is 1 by t, 0 to t, sine of 2 omega t dt. So you do this calculation, we are directly writing the average value. So if you have a sine or cosine function, the average comes out to be 0. Otherwise you check this, do this integration for one complete cycle, put a limit 0 to t, and you will find the answer to be 0. That we did in IRMS and VRMS value. So for sine or cosine, the average always comes out to be 0. So here directly we write power is equal to 0 because the average of sine 2 omega t is equal to 0. It means the power supplied to an inductor circuit or to an inductor is 0. Now what does it means that a average power supplied to an inductor over complete cycle is 0? That we will try to understand in the next lecture. So power, or you can say average power supplied to an inductor is 0. Here, while in the case of a resistor, the power supplied to a resistor was I square R, but here the power comes out to be 0. So we will see that if it is an idle inductor, the inductor will not dissipate the energy, it will not absorb the power. Whatever power is given to it, that power is written back to us in the cycle. So we will see how the power is, how the power comes out to be 0. This is mathematically the power came out to be 0, but it is not the case with the inductor. It is 0, and it does not mean that a power is not consumed. It literally means that the inductor will be helpful to us to store the energy. So power means energy per unit time. So our source will give energy to an inductor. The inductor will store that power or energy in the terms of a magnetic field, and it will return that power back to us. So first we will do the work against. We know that whenever the work is done against anything, the energy is stored. If the work is done against gravitation, it is gravitational potential energy. If the work is done against a restoring force, it is a elastic potential energy. So similarly, here our source, our AC source did the work against the inertia or against the self-inductance of a inductor. So work is done to establish the energy, and we know that the energy stored in an inductor was half Li square. So here power 0 means our source will give energy to the inductor will store it, and it will return the power back to the source. So the average power for one complete cycle comes out to be 0, where in the case of resistance, we have a Joule heating effect, or resistor consume the power. Here power consumption is 0. So whatever power is given to an inductor, it will be written back to the source. So there will be an absorption of the power, and the power will be returned back. And for one complete cycle, the average comes out to be 0. It means in an ideal inductor, there is no loss of energy. That we will try to understand with the help of a diagram in the next lecture. Have a nice day.